Hey there, friends. My name's Sandy, and this video is going to walk you through Beautiful Blues. So this is the Beautiful Blues kit. If you get just the kit as it is, you get enough stuff to make three each of these three different cards. So we've got this design here, this design here, this design here, and the envelopes are beautiful. You also, in addition to those things, you also get, so you get three of this card base, three of this card base, three of that card base, 9 envelopes, three of these die cuts, then 3 sheets of these die cuts that you're very carefully going to punch out. 1, 2, 3. And then you get a sheet of these dies here, the ones that you can stamp on. And that has 4 of each. So other than these things, and you get a sheet of these beautiful gems. So that is, I've just showed you basically a third of one of the kits. It also comes with this fabulous stamp set with that great leaf. The sentiments are sending love, wishing you comfort, and you're in my thoughts. You get tear and tape, which is super easy to use. You just pull it off here, tear what you need, attach it to the paper, peel back, and now your project is ready to be stuck. All right, so now that's stuck together. You also get a package of, or a little sheet of the dimensionals. So that's a bunch of little foam tapes in there. So what I'm going to do is show you what you can do with 1/3 of the project. So the first thing I did is using my paper trimmer, I cut the front and back apart for each one of those cards. And then one of the blue ones that has the swirl in it, you want 2 inches and 2 inches. You won't use this little tiny piece. Okay, so that's it for those. Attach that beautiful die cut to the back side of this card, the one that was just white. We'll use that in just a minute. So I've used the golden greenery dies and the golden greenery stamp set. Did some heart cutouts for you. You've got some of these green ferns, green sprigs that I've cut out for you. If you're doing, so this is my 4-page blues with a better, beautiful blues kit. Okay, so we've got this page and this page. And I'm going to, for the video, do a little bit low key, but let me show you what I came up with and kind of went overboard. So for this layout, I've taken that stamp that came in the kit and stamped that all the way around the outside of both pages. I then took a blending brush and Calypso Coral ink and just kind of brushed that into the edges so that you've got a nice pinky orangish haze around there. And I've added in some of those sprigs. So for the sake of the video, I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm going to keep this one pretty simple, but let me show you how this layout's going to go together. This one is actually at the top of the stack, so I'm going to actually assemble this one first. So let me talk about this one. Again, added some hearts and sprigs. This gray piece, I stamped the flourishes on, and then I stamped that same flourish down here and down here. Everything else is really very basic. So let's assemble this page first. All right, so here we're using blueberry bushel as the base, then adding an 8.5 by 11 piece of white, a 2.5 inch piece of gray granite, and then a 1/2 inch by 11 inch piece of the white daisy again. And that is going to create our frame for us and start the base layer for that page. Now we're going to use one of those card fronts, those really pretty blue ones. Oop. Let me flip this back around here, upside down. There we go. There's the right way. Then this is going 1/4 inch down on the white. Then we're going to add the 4.25 by 6.25 Calypso coral right underneath that. These are all right flush to the edge. And then one of our 2-inch pieces of that blue card that we cut. Okay, so far this is a pretty simple layout, right? So I'm going to add this photo mat up here, and it is more on the blue than not, and leaving about 1/4 inch, so 1/2 inch of white, 1/4 inch of the blue. And our 3.25 by 4.25 is going to go here. Now you'll notice I did not stamp this piece here. I'm going to keep this one just a little more neutral, but I do still kind of want to add that in. You know, it just makes it nice. So I'm going to. What I did for that is I stamped my ink. I got my ink. I'm using the Night of Navy, which comes with the kit, right? So I'm just still using all the things that came in the kit. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to stamp on your scrap paper and then stamp this. So I want this one to be coming down. Oh, should have flipped my mat over, you guys. Luckily, I lined it right back up. Let me flip this sucker over. I'm going to flip this way so that I can see it. Again, I'm going to ink it and then stamp on scrap so that I've got my second generation of color here, keeping it a little bit lighter, but still using that same ink. Oh, and this one, I'm going to come right out from the corner here. There we go. Love it. And then I'm going to stick my heart, the smallest of the hearts, right here where that all comes together. But I'm only putting tape on the left-hand side so that I can still slip my picture in there later. Okay. And then we've got this cluster down here. So this one I stamped using second generation Calypso coral and old olive inks. So I'm going to grab one of my sprigs and the blue sprig and the smallest of those to create that cluster. And then let me grab that stamped image. Just so you're aware, I forgot to stamp off on this one so you can see how much darker it is if you do full strength. Still beautiful, but I wanted to go with a much lighter look. So I'm adding that to my little cluster over here, starting with the green on the bottom. And I want that to come down onto the blue, but land in this general area here. Then we'll add the stamped image from Greenery in gold, overlapping there. So I'm only putting adhesive in that middle spot. And that way, when I go to add my photos, you can still get them down in there. And this is lining right up along the edge here of this picture. We've got our sprigs coming over onto this picture. So I'm going up there. And then this piece which I think is perfect size for like the date or something like that. Ooh, but make it go straight. Uh, Whew, close call. There we go. Okay, so this one has the stamped along the side, this one doesn't. I think easily you could do some journaling right through here or even add another picture where here it fills it up a little bit more. Let's move on to the other side of this. So we're starting this the same way. We've got our 8.5 by 11, our 2.5 by 12, and our 1/2 by 11, adding this florally print from the cards to there. Then we're going to take that longest piece of Calypso coral and put that right underneath that blue. And then this last piece of blue goes underneath that. So that carries over from the other page, right? So far, it's pretty much the same. And then this one's going up here. So I do have a couple little flourishes that I'm going to add down here doing that same technique. Not sure why I gave you that extra piece. Why that's there. Okay. So I'm going to stamp and then got it inked. I'm going to put some there and then stamp this so it comes right in this section right in here. Perfect. Then we've got our other green flourish. And I'm tucking that underneath, but I want a little bit of it to kind of come up onto that picture for me. And another one of those greenery and gold pieces. It's going to go right there. Now with this heart, where did I put it? With this heart, I don't want to put adhesive on the top part because I want to still be able to get my picture in there. So I'm only putting adhesive on the bottom. And then that's overlapping the picture. Let's do the cluster up top here. We've got the big heart that's going to be the base of this one, and we want that to kind of fill in that big open space, but we don't want to see any of the blue. You just want to see a little bit of white in the middle there. Then we'll add our last green flourish. And that's overlapping the picture a little bit, making sure it stays on the page. We're going to add our last of these stamped pieces to the center here. Then we've got that white punch out piece. We want the flat part of the middle to be facing the inside of the page. And that's going to cover up this middle section right here. Doing it the right way. 1, 2. Oh, looks like I taped it on the wrong side this time. That's okay. Still good. All right, and then we're putting the longer one of these right over top of that. And I'm going to move it this way a little bit. Okay. So that's it for that page. As much or a little of all that stamping as you'd like to do. But isn't that fun with the blue, beautiful blues just do all the work for you. Let me show you the other page. So first thing, if you want to do the stamping, do that part first. Now we're going to add our gray. And this is going 2¼ inches over from the left, evenly spaced top and bottom. Then we're going to add that glitter piece, that really thin glitter piece, right next to it. And then the Calypso coral next to that. So that's the kind of the base here. for this. And then I'm going to add my 6¼ by 8½. And I want that to be about 3/4 up from the bottom. 3/4 of an inch in and 3/4 of an inch up on the gray, which is about 1.5 inches up from the bottom. So that's going to fall right about here. Then this piece that we added to the white, that is going to go right next to this piece with a little bit of gray showing in between. And then down here, we're going to add this photo well. So now what we're going to do is take one of those envelopes, and I want you to put plenty of adhesive around the left, right, bottom, and across the arch. So you don't want anything interfering with the flap itself. You just want tape all the way around there. And what we're going to do is tuck this behind the picture or behind the whole page. Turn it so I can get to it a little better. And I want this to line up so that that flap falls. Give a nice firm press, right? So now this has created a great little pocket for you to store little goodies. Isn't that lovely? All right. And then we're going to do our little cluster of flowers here. So this one, I'm not putting any adhesive toward the top here because I'm going to have that overlap this flap just a little bit. And now this little piece is holding that in place. Well, at least it would if I had put more adhesive underneath here. All right, so now that creates a little flap for us. Then we've got 2 sprigs, and you may have to really work to get that out and make sure if you've got any little doodads stuck in there, pop those out of there. So we got green one, and we want to make sure this comes right out to the white beyond there. Same thing here. This one's coming out here. And then I would use the dimensionals for sure on this piece. And I'm just going to pop that right up. I like a lot because I don't want any parts of it sagging, because it does that over time. It'll start sagging. But I'm doing the whole thing, but you don't have to pull the backing off of all of them. Just want to make sure the backing's off of several. And I want the bigger, more full flower to be on the bottom of this cluster. And I'm doing a little bit of an angle, but not much. Right, so that fills in that space. So this one obviously is way more plain, but how easy would it be? And before I post this, I'm sure you'll see in the pictures, I'm going to have just a couple little sprigs coming down here, a couple coming out behind this white, right? So it doesn't look quite so stark over there. I'll have a couple coming out mixed in with the ferns, and maybe 1 or 2 right down in here. Just to finish off that page, let's move on to the last bit for this beautiful blues 4-page workshop. So that gray piece is going to go 2 inches over, evenly spaced top and bottom with the glitter and then the paper next to it. Here, you're going to tape the whole envelope shut because it's not going to be an envelope this time. That's going to overlap the white, and I want it to be 2 inches down on the gray and about 1 inch over from the white edge. So it'll go right about here. Then we're going to take that card base that's just blue, and that'll go in the center of the envelope. Then we've got our 4x4 photo well that I'm putting more toward the left-hand side of that, and our 4x6 photo well. is going to go 1.25 inches up on the gray and kind of lined up near but not touching on that side. So I think for this part, the easiest thing to do, all right, we are taking, what is it? So here, what I did was I used my scissors, and I am not doing this for the video. You will see it when it's all done, but I just cut this out. Now, when you get to places like here, I picked and chose which ones I was going to do. So that's this section over here. See, I just took the dark ones. Let me bring this up close so you can see what I'm talking about. So right in here, that's this section right here, right? So it goes like this. So you can see I kind of, this, you're going to cut down into these to create full leaves, even though they get cut off. Up here, I would cut that whole thing off, but here you can get most of that, and all the way around here, you'll be good. Down here, you might want to just cut right down. I cut these that come off, I cut that right off and just went kind of around there. Cut all of this blue off because it's all going to be covered up anyway, right? So that's this card right here is how you're getting this big blue flourish. And then you're going to take two of your flowers are going to go in this way, two sprigs in this way. This little thing goes boom right there. And then you're done. And you'll see when I'm all finished, I'm going to again add a couple little sprigs from the stamp set. I didn't do any word stamping because I felt like these were really card related, but this gives you a place to put a date or a name or something, and there's still plenty of opportunities to add some journaling in various places. I hope that you like what you see and enjoyed the beautiful blues kit as much as I do. Thanks for watching.